Chief Rebel are really brewing something interesting here. If you would ask me if there's a game out there that's the new kid on the block that wants to be in the MMO club, but without the MM and MMO, I'd be like, damn! Not only that, but to grab a single MMO game mode and revolve it entirely on your game is quite the bold move, and honestly, quite the niche if you ask me. This game is called Fellowship, and they want you to know them as a MODA.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A multiplayer online dungeon adventure game that pretty much ditches the leveling journey of MMOs. As someone who enjoys MMOs and grinding dungeons, the game caught my attention. So when Chief Rebel announced an open beta for Fellowship, I had to give it a try and see if they could execute something that would be a genre-defining moment in the MMORPG space. Before we jump in, what's up, my role players? If this is your first time discovering my channel, my name is AG, and we talk about RPGs here, whether it's MMOs, story-driven RPGs, ARPGs, or CRPGs, we got you covered. And if that's your cup of tea, then hit that like and subscribe button, as it helps us with the YouTube algorithm, and it also lets me know that you want to join us in our leveling journey. But without further ado, let's dive right in. So let's talk about the dungeon difficulty system. For any viewers who are not familiar with this type of system, it's a game mode similar to World of Warcraft's Mythic Plus system, with slight variations we'll get into. The devs clearly took inspiration from WoW's Mythic Plus game mode and decided to make a standalone game that revolves entirely around it. Now, the game will optionally give you a tutorial to any newcomers of the Trinity system that some MMOs use when doing group PvE content. This Trinity system will have something like a tank, 2 DPSs, and a healer. The main objective of Fellowship is to essentially jump into endgame dungeon content with a group of players and clear enemies and bosses where you can loot a treasure chest at the end of your run, which has rewards such as gear and gold. Every time you complete a dungeon run, you will unlock the next difficulty. So for example, your first dungeon run you complete will unlock you a +1 difficulty, and this is basically the game loop you will partake in, which will allow you to gear up, gain currency, forge items, unlock more hero talents, mounts, etc. One thing I liked early on was that you can 100% queue up for all the content in the game without always looking for custom matches made by players who may be looking for the most optimal classes or builds. This is what I found so annoying with WoW's Mythic Plus system. If you did not play with any friends or have a guild, you were pretty much put into a situation where if you wanted to push higher dungeon keys, you may have needed to have a class that was optimal so that the pug groups would accept your request to join. Now, I know it's early and things will be subject to change, but it is just really good to queue up and just grind dungeons without really worrying about flavor of the months or having a meta overshadow the playing experience. In Fellowship, you'll be selecting different heroes to play in your dungeon runs that's somewhat similar to MOBA style games such as League of Legends or Smite. Currently, there are 6 available hero characters to play in the open beta, each having a unique playstyle. As of now, I'm not a fan of the hero characters as I feel like they lack identity. Walking around and seeing the same exact character of me makes me feel like the character is not my own. Now, this is not a deal breaker, and for some it won't matter, but this is something where I feel they are lacking. But hopefully they add some level of customization just to make things a little bit more unique. Now, the gameplay for the heroes was pretty solid. I thought all of them had a unique playstyle, and the mechanics for most were easy to pick up. Each hero was not necessarily innovative in any way. I feel like the most of the mechanics are something you would see in other MMOs, however, I did really enjoy the 2 hero tanks the most. I ended up maining Helena through most of my playthrough as I really enjoyed her simple but fun style of gameplay using a sword and shield. As someone who enjoys playing warrior type classes, I appreciate the cross-hybrid warrior/paladin playstyle that Helena offered. I mean, who can say no to ground stomping and shield bashing, right?
Where's your killer instinct, son? You gotta get angry! You gotta get mean!
Now, I have to give a shout out to the other hero tank, Miko, as I genuinely enjoyed her button combination mechanic where pretty much if you used a number of ability combos consecutively, you were able to use a different combat technique finisher based on that combination. I thought this playstyle kept my playthroughs fresh and also gave tanking a little more of a challenge where I can improve my skills with a much steeper rotation. The enemies and bosses you'll encounter in Fellowship are pretty standard in what you'll see in most MMOs. Now, I will say the trash mobs in Fellowship are a bit underwhelming, but there's a reason why they're called trash mobs, right?
I can say I bled for garbage.
Most of the packs will have your prototypical melee enemies and some ranged enemies that will be physical range, such as archers or casters where you need to interrupt their spell casting. I did enjoy the boss battles in Fellowship, and I think this will be their bread and butter, as each boss battle had different mechanics which made each encounter feel unique. One thing I would like to see is potentially more boss battles in these dungeons and less encounters with trash mobs. Currently, the system they have in place is to kill enough trash mobs until the kill meter is 100% in order for you to complete the dungeon while also defeating all the bosses. I feel this is a system they should continue working on, as it feels kind of stale going through a lot of trash mobs. Overall, the dungeons are fun to play, and I hope they continue to add more unique bosses with different modifiers once the game goes into early access. When it comes to the UI, Fellowship offers a very close resemblance of World of Warcraft's UI. This UI setup will be comfortable to use for anyone coming from WoW and has an edit UI feature where you can customize your UI to your liking. Now, the really cool thing is there is a damage meter already included in the UI, so you can keep track of DPS while running dungeons. Currently, I'm not sure if there will be add-on support for this game. Let me know in the comments if the devs are considering add-on support in the future, as I'm quite curious if they are at least considering it or not. Overall, I like Fellowship, and I really hope the devs succeed with this project. The game has a lot of potential to be something great. Obviously, this game is very niche and tailored to a certain audience, but I believe if they can at least attract other players besides MMO players, they can really create something unique here. Remember, not all MMO players enjoy grinding dungeons. Some enjoy the leveling journeys of MMOs rather than the endgame. So what do you guys think of Fellowship so far? Is this a game you're excited about? And do you think a different audience of players will be interested in this game that are not MMO players? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.